right thing, Miss Lynn.
You're trying to do
I want to do the right thing.
Okay.
And that was my friend. In every sense of the word, that was my friend. But I gotta be honest with you.
Okay.
My attorney doesn't trust Holman, and he is strongly advising keep your mouth shut and remain silent.
Your attorney is telling you that?
Yeah.
And that's because he thinks Detective Holman is, well, he's now a lieutenant, but that's because they think Lieutenant Holman is a dirty cop?
He doesn't, number one, he doesn't trust Detective Holman. Number two, because of the issues in my own past that I have had and the extensive criminal history and the extensive criminal record that I have, he's afraid that they can charge me with murder.
Okay.
He's also, so it comes down to, do I listen to him? And taking the chances?
Well...
And do the right thing? Or do I just not... I can't do that to Kim, though.
I understand.
I cannot...
Listen, this is the best advice that I can give you. I'm not an attorney, okay? And I don't want you to put yourself in jeopardy. Even if you don't feel that your level of involvement rises to the level of murder, the knowledge that you have of what transpired and the time that's gone by that you've kept silent, somebody could hold that against you, especially if the people who were directly involved are no longer with us. Do you understand what I'm saying?
We're talking.
Huh? I'm sorry?
I'm here.
I want you, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I know I did speak with Kim today. I know what you conveyed to her. I commend you for speaking up. I understand that you were kind of caught in the middle of the whole situation and you were afraid, especially, when there's law enforcement involved, that's not on the up and up, that puts you in a precarious situation.
Miss Lynn, I'm not so much worried about the police. I don't care. I'm not worried about Holman. I'm not worried about Kendall.
Let me ask you this. Do you think during the investigation of David's disappearance, do you feel that ISP was covering up the case, or do you...
Of course.
You do.
What investigation? There was no investigation. 165 potential witnesses or 165 potential leads. My ass. My dog could do a better job. And I got the dumbest dog in the world.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
What? But why do you? I
don't know at what point.
Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think that is? Why do you think that? What about David? Why would they want to cover David's disappearance up?
It was fucking Valerie. Pardon my French. pardon my French, there was a lot of going on. And if there wasn't, well, there was something going on. There was something going on. Because they were awful fucking friendly. And he definitely wasn't trying to put her in jail.
Holman or Kimball or who? Rector? Kimball, okay.
At some point, up until the point where they allegedly promoted Kendall and he moved on, Holman and everybody else were in the background. They weren't even part of the investigation. The case was Kendall's. That's why it stalled. That's why it never went anywhere. He wasn't trying to investigate. I'm gonna. 2017, Kendall came and saw me in the county jail on Veterans Day.
Mm-hmm.
I told him the truth.
When was that?
Well, hold on. I take that back. I didn't tell him the whole truth, nothing but the truth. But I tried to put him on the right path and lead him down the right path to where he could have solved the whole entire thing. You know what he did with the information? Took it and tossed it straight in the trash.
When was that?
The following week, when my attorney came to visit me, I asked him point blank whether or not he had talked to Kendall about what Kendall and I had talked about. He said no. I didn't get no phone call. I didn't get no email. Nobody called my office.
And when was that you told Kimball?
2017. 2017, Pat Harrington and the prosecutor that were prosecuting my case both told my attorney that they weren't interested in the case that they were trying to solve. They would rather put me in prison for the rest of my life where I belong. And that's exactly what they were trying to do. They were trying to bury me. That's what I'm afraid of.
Right.
That's what I'm afraid of. Because as soon as Pat Harrington and Mr. Silva find out that the information is possibly coming from me, they're going to turn around and they're going to stab me in the back and they're going to try and bury me and they're going to fuck me. I see it coming.
Well, can you tell me why David is dead?
There's a lot of speculation, Miss Lynn. There's a lot of speculation. I mean, for a known fact, no. The only thing I can do is speculate. The only thing I can do is tell you what I was told. Everybody was afraid that he was going to tell on us for what was going on. But if you look back and you think about it now, Miss Lynn,
mm-hmm.
and you look at it with a clear head,
yeah.
if we were smart enough to actually listen to the man, then I probably wouldn't have gone to prison for 9 years. Tony would probably still be alive.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know whether or not Valerie would be alive. And I sure know that the True Bloods wouldn't be sitting in prison for the rest of their lives either.
Who are the True Bloods?
It's all part of our little dope ring.
And that involved Tony Richards and Barry Richards and.
Miss Lynn, how do you think all of the dope was getting into Lafayette? Barry Richards was sheriff.
Right.
Tony's brother was sheriff.
Right.
How do you think all of the dope was getting in?
Okay.
He was getting his. Why do you think that the Palominos and the True Bloods and everybody and the upper up, how they're still sitting out on the streets without ever going to prison or without ever catching a dope case?
Did you say the Paladinos?
I should correct myself and I should say the True Bloods, but if I'm not mistaken, and they're who I think they are, the Paladinos are the ones that where everybody's getting their shit from.
From who? Mark? Jason?
Huh?
Mark? Jason?
Ma'am, I don't know. I'm low down on the totem. I'm low down on the totem pole. They got so many people. If they got so different runs, But I will tell you this. Much. Delphi and Kokomo are where we used to go get our shit at.
Okay. Do you know Talitha Beckley?
Who?
Talitha Beckley.
The name sounds familiar. I might know her by name. But listen, Miss Lynn, I want to tell you one other thing. Okay, I'm listening to part of the podcast that you and Ken did, and they're talking about how she knew about the trunk and how she knew about this and how she knew about that.
Yes.
Back in 2017, everybody in the county jail had a story about David.
Okay.
If they could get out of jail. And if they could get out of jail, they were all willing to come forward and testify and tell and do this and do that and this and that and this and that. So depending upon what day of the week it was, everybody had a story. Oh, I was there. Oh, I witnessed it. Oh, this is what I heard. Oh, this is that's it. I heard that. I heard this. So it all depends on who you really actually want to believe or who you would actually put, faith in the story. Because let me tell you what, the stories were all a dime a dozen. That was one of the hottest topics. Hottest topics at the time.
So then tell me, what is the truth? Because I was contacted and told that Talitha Beckley had direct knowledge about David's disappearance and what happened to him, and she is very connected to the Paladinos. Very connected.
And ma'am, I'm not saying that she doesn't. I'm not saying that her story is a lie. I'm not saying that her story is the truth, because I don't know. Now, I will say this much. There probably is a good chance that, yes, ma'am, she may very well be telling you the truth. She may be telling you part of the truth.
Well, why don't you tell me your truth and tell me what you know or what you were told or what you witnessed. And if you don't want to, you don't have to.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Stop. Man, see that? Hey, creo que esto vamos a decir Right. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
If this lady is, associated with those people, then there's probably a real good chance that she may be telling the truth. And then she's part of that ring, that was, I guess you could, you might as well say, protected by the sheriff.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, the things that, the dope ring that was going on this one, it wasn't just Lafayette. It wasn't just Delphi. It wasn't just Monticello.
Okay.
It was probably, and it expanded all the way out in Chicago into a different state.
Okay.
Up north.
I understand what you're saying. I've heard that.
I mean, ma'am, I will tell you this much. I was running dope all the way up to Chicago and back.
Okay. By
myself.
Can I ask you what kind of dope it was? Was it heroin? Was it meth?
Methamphetamine.
Okay.
Well, let me correct myself, ma'am. It was the generic version of methamphetamine. It was that bullshit shake and bake stuff. Okay. It was not real meth. It was not real crystal methamphetamine.
Okay. So was there, when you say protected by the sheriff, protected by which sheriff, or was there more than one? Like, was there law enforcement in Delphi?
Who knows how many people were involved. But don't you find it funny how everybody, how Tony's never in trouble with the law, or never having a dope case after getting out of prison for the manslaughter case?
Who's that?
During the time that his brother was sheriff? He never had any problems whatsoever.
Okay.
That house out there at West Lafayette never had any problems.
Which house was that?
The one that was owned by where Dave Prater was staying, and I can't remember the guy's name that owned it. The little dorky dude that died that had the glasses.
Wasn't Alex, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I mean,
Kim told me what you had conveyed to her, that you had walked up on. What was actually what was her connection with Tony Richards? Valerie's. What was Valerie's connection to Tony Richards?
That was the flavor. She was the flavor of the week for him.
Okay.
Tony used to stay out there with Dave, with his half-brother and Alex. So when Valerie used to go out there, then, you know what I'm saying? Okay. At one point, they were an on again, off again flavor of the week.
Okay. So tell me, I mean, you walked up on them at David's house, correct? Is that right?
I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
The question that I got, do I got the same deal with you that I got with Kimberly?
I should have. I mean, you should have. I mean, I honestly don't know what deal you have with her. I know that I've tried to help her find out what happened to her brother. I'm an advocate for a woman who I believe is wrongfully convicted at the hands of the Palladinos and Talitha Beckley. And when I was given the information about David, I didn't know Kim. I reached out to Kim myself because I was like, there's no way. I had never even heard of David's case. So I reached out to Kim with the information that I was given and like, hey, I don't know if this is true or not. And from there, her and I have developed a friendship. I've brought her on my channel to try to just kind of like refresh everyone's memories to bring out the truth about what happened to her brother. I think Kim's biggest concern right now is, giving her brother a proper burial and bringing him home. And honestly, after all these years, knowing the truth, I'm not in this to try to get anybody in trouble. If anything, I would like to know, law enforcement wise, who's shady and who's doing what. Because there's a good possibility this is a trickle down effect, and it's affected a lot of people's lives, and I think it also could be affecting the Delphi case. So,
Well, ma'am, I will tell you this much. The prosecutor that's on the Delphi case,
yes.
Nicholas McClellan, is the attorney that represented me on my drug case.
Okay.
He's also the attorney that represented me on another case in Delphi before he became the prosecutor. When he became the prosecutor, he dismissed a whole bunch of staff people. Now, whether or not they did anything wrong, who knows? I don't know.
Okay.
I wasn't there. I do know this much. I do know that Nick handpicked the people that are around him and the investigators that are on the case.
Okay.
There is a lot of talk that why Holman and Kendrick and Kendall and another person and a couple other people, why they were dismissed.
Okay.
Because the common factor on some of the cases in Indiana, and especially in some of the smaller counties, is ISP.
Okay.
And at the time when these cases that were going on that you guys were talking about, the common denominator really wasn't ISP. It was Holman and Kendall and a couple of other people, because they only had X amount of detectives.
Okay. So, I mean, do you have an opinion about Nick McClelland? As far as, is he on the up and up?
Mr. McClellan?
Yeah.
Mr. McClellan is definitely on the up and up.
Okay.
And I will tell you this much right now. I hate to say this. I really do hate to say this. But the suspect that they have in the Delphi case, he's toast. He's toast.
Why do you say that?
He's never going to see the light of day again. And it'll probably be at one day, 30 years down the road from now, or maybe 25 years down the road from now, they're going to gas his ass.
Do you think that's because he's guilty, or do you think he's being shut up?
Oh, he's definitely guilty, ma'am.
Oh, wait, okay.
He's definitely guilty.
Okay.
Now, whether or not he actually killed those two little girls, I don't know. I don't judge people.
Do you know?
I'm not gonna, I'm not in that position. But I will say this. If he is a guilty party, then that's probably what needs to happen.
But do you know him?
He was at Westwall while I was there.
Oh, really?
But I never got close to him because he was in an isolated area. Because he's not in state custody.
Right. Well, he's been transferred now.
Yeah, I think they transferred him down to Miami.
They moved. He's actually in Wabash now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, did you meet with your attorney today?
I had a phone conversation with him
And he doesn't recommend that you talk to Holman?
He doesn't trust Holman.
So what is it? He just wants you to stay quiet?
He says, I'm going to give you a piece of advice, and I'm going to strongly advise you to exercise your right to remain silent. Now, he did say that you do what you want. If you choose, to say something, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. And if you get in trouble down the road and you need me, of course I'm here to help you.
Okay. Well, this is what I want you to do. Because I can tell that this is weighing really heavy on you. Mentally, emotionally. You might even have been drinking a little bit. I get it.
No.
No?
I'm in a sober living house.
Okay. This is what I want you to do. I'm in no hurry. I know that Kim said that you were willing to come on and talk about this. That's great, but not at the jeopardy of putting yourself in a position of being charged with something. I don't want to take advantage of you and put you in that position. I want you to take a day or so and sleep on it.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Miss Lynn. If you protect my identity the way that you protected Haley's identity, I'll tell you everything you want to know right now.
Okay. Well, I would never go public with your information unless I had your permission. And even with that green light, I recommend still protecting your identity. I just don't think it's smart for anyone to say your name publicly with the information that you have. I just don't think that's smart. And I would not want to put you in jeopardy like that. So you can tell me everything that you...
Well, with that being said, Miss Lynn, with that being said, yes, it's true that Valerie and Tony Richards killed him. Yes, it's true that I helped put him in the trunk of the car. Yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. Out at Alex's house, this house that Grader shared with Alex. Yes, it is true that the body was in the cart, and then we put it into the floor, buried it, and poured a concrete floor over the top. Now, over the years, there was a rumor that that he had been moved, or that he was going to be moved. So now, whether or not that ever happened, or whether or not that was ever true, really actually true, remains to be seen, because I don't know. Hold on for me just 1 second, please.
Okay.
Are you working through some service at Wabash, or are you on direct hire?
Direct hire.
You're on direct hire?
Yeah, I'm more just
Can you just go in there and do an application?
online. I'm sure you. If you go over to the South Plant, you know where that's on?
Which one is the south, on 52 or out by Walmart?
South is on Veterans.
Okay, that's okay, so that you apply online.
Yeah, I called them the 5th day.
Okay. All right, right on. Thank you.
It took a couple weeks to hear back from them.
Well, yeah, I don't think they're gonna call it. You know what I mean? They're not gonna call back 5 minutes. 5 minutes later. But I have welding certification.
Oh, they're looking for welders. They asked me if I wanted to be one. That's how bad they're needing it.
I don't know. A certified welder is Eli, the Mexican guy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Eli can weld too? Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Where was I, ma'am?
You were saying that they had claimed that the body was possibly moved?
Oh, yeah, that's it. Somebody actually wrote letter from the county jail to his girlfriend back into like 2006, late 2016, early 2017, talking about that the body needed to be moved and that they needed to do this and that they needed to do that.
To whose girlfriend? Who was the girlfriend? Who was
Tony's girlfriend was Stephanie. I can't remember her name. She was a little bag that I couldn't stand.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm eating my dinner.
That's okay. That's okay. That's what I'm getting ready to go do right now is go eat. But what kind of concrete floor? Was it like a whole slab, like for a whole entire, like, one car garage?
Yeah, for the garage we did a whole new floor.
So that was you and Valerie and Tony and.
Well, it wasn't Alex. It was more me and Tony than me, Tony, and Valerie.
Okay.
But yes, she was there.
Okay. And you're not aware that the Palladinos had anything to do with that murder?
Ma'am, I don't know. That who and how, that part I actually do not know. I always assumed that it was just Tony by himself, but I mean, I can't really see that as being true. You know, now, I mean, the Palladinos, having something to do with it, they may very well have got somebody to do it because they all believed that he was getting ready to tell on everybody.
Okay.
But that's not the case. Like I said, that is not the case. And if everybody had been paying attention instead of, having, pardon my French, having their head so far up our asses, then we all would have realized and probably could have saved ourselves a whole lot of heartache and a whole lot of headache. And, like I said, myself, I definitely probably wouldn't have been sitting in prison for the last 9 years.
So Valerie never explained to you what exactly happened or where it took place or anything like that?
No. And Miss Lynn, I also want to clarify and clear something up right now. I don't know for a fact that it was Dave in that tarp. It could have been Santa Claus.
Right.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I never saw with my own eyes David's dead body. I never saw that. So as far as I know, or as far as anybody else knows, it could have been. But at the same time, ma'am, it could have been Santa Claus.
Right. But they told you it was David, right?
No, in a roundabout way, yes. Directly, no. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you beating around the bush, this is exactly what was said when I came into the garage, and Yahoo 1 and Dumbass 2 are in the garage. There's a tarp in the middle of the floor with an object wrapped up in it, with the white sheet over the top.
Okay.
Now, I specifically said you better not have what I think you got in that tarp. That better be the biggest thick-fin fish that you ever caught out of the lake or ocean or whatever. Tony and Herb both directly said, who do you think it would be, and why do you think we're doing this? We ain't doing this for our health, and we ain't doing this for kick. You draw your own conclusion from that.
Okay.
Okay? So when I went to school, 2 and 2 was 4.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple of different ways that you could get it. And Grandpa used to always say that if it sounded like a duck, walked like a duck, and quacked like a duck, God damn it, it was a duck, even though it may not look like a duck.
Right. So, so you never, like, as far as like David's bike breaking down on the side of 65, was that a setup? Or did it just miss happenstance to break down? Or do you know?
Ma'am, I don't know for a fact, but I believe that it was a setup because of the simple fact that the person that had fixed the bike had just fixed it the day before, and now it's breaking down already.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Either you're a real shitty mechanic or something's up. So, I mean, again, draw your own conclusion. I mean, because I don't think that we're ever going to know for 100% fact or 100% certainty, Miss Lynn. You know, there's always going to be speculation, and there's always going to be questions, and there's always going to be this, and there's always going to be that. So, I mean, you tell the story one way today, and by tomorrow, it's, you know, something's been added to it, and now it gets just a little bit bigger.
Right.
And that's probably how the way that you know it'll get, like the way that it'll go. You know. Mm-hmm. Now, in my heart of hearts, I believe it was a setup, but that's only my own personal opinion.
So after the fact, were there ever any threats or anything to you that kept you quiet, or did you just stay quiet because you felt like you had to protect yourself for, you know, what participation that you did have? Or did someone actually make threats to you?
No, ma'am.
You're saying no?
No.
To which one? You were threatened, or you just kept
No, I wasn't.
Okay, you weren't. Okay.
You know, nobody, Miss Lynn, nobody ever came and threatened me or, you know, tried to physically harm me or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
At the time, you know, playing the game that we were playing and playing it the way that we were playing it and living a very, very, you know, the playing Russian roulette, so to speak.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, you just didn't say anything, period. It was already known that if you said anything loose, lip sync trips or anything like that, then they'll find you out in the middle of a cornfield.
Right.
But that didn't stop people. You know what I mean? That didn't stop people because that was an everyday thing. You know, somebody get arrested for a small little dope case, and guess what? Within 30 seconds, they're singing like a parrot.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm only stating my own opinion, Miss Lynn. Now, whether or not I'm right or I'm wrong remains to be seen. The only thing that I can do and the only thing that I can say is what I did myself and what I witnessed with my own two eyes.
Right.
That would be, for sure. For sure. Anything else would only be speculation, Miss Lynn. That's all it would be.
Okay. Well, I want you to take a day or so and think on this. And my phone, I just got home from work and my phone is getting ready to go dead and I don't want to get you cut off. Is this your phone number that you're calling me from?
Mm-hmm.
So I can save it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I think that you need to talk to your attorney a little bit more before you even present yourself to Detective Holman. I think that's in your best interest. Before I would make sure that you have some sort of a deal in place before you spoke. That's my advice. I know that when I talked to Kim today, she was 100% certain that she didn't want you to be charged with anything. Because you're coming forward, and
that was the initial impression that we got from Kim.
Right.
I've always thought that he was a straight shooter.
Mm-hmm.
I did talk to Mr. Gibson this afternoon. Mr. Gibson did tell me, you got to remember one thing. He's a homicide detective. He's trying to solve a case.
Right. Exactly. That's true.
And it's been 9 years.
Right.
So you gotta wait. You gotta. I don't know. I guess you gotta kind of know what's at the bottom of the ocean, so to speak, before you jump.
Exactly. And I think that you need to stand behind your attorney and don't expose yourself to law enforcement, because I know that Kim is just grateful that you came forward, and I think that she wholeheartedly is about just getting answers about her brother. And
I can't listen in what's conflicting and what is so hard for me. I can't do that to that woman. I promised her that I was going to make it right.
Okay, well, there's a way that you can make it right, but at the same time, if you didn't pull the trigger and you weren't involved in the method and the means and the planning, okay, that's a huge separation in the actual act of the killing of David. Now, what element of crime they would charge you with after the fact, whether it be desecrating a body or, hindering an investigation as far as, hiding the body. I don't know, but I think that you should take the advice of your attorney first and foremost. And do not walk in. I'm not an attorney, but I know I know that innocent or guilty, you need to have representation to serve your best interest before you walk into law enforcement's office and render yourself completely at their disposal. Do not do that. You do what your attorney tells you to do.
We're gonna figure something out, Miss Lynn.
Okay.
And I gotta get to drug class now, but
okay.
I'm gonna speak to Kim later on this evening, and if you want to call me back later on this evening, after around 7, after 7, that's fine. But
okay.
we're gonna figure something out, because Ashley, Eric, Kimmy, that whole family. Mm-hmm. They need to know. Right. And they have the right to know. And they just want to know they just want to know where. Right. I don't think it's so much the why or anything like that. It's just the where. Right. Let's Miss Lynn, I can only imagine what the past 9 years have been like for that family. Mm-hmm. Because I'm speaking personally for myself. If that was my daughter or if that was my brother, I'd burn the town down. I burned the town down until I had the answers that I was looking for. And that's just me. And then probably after I found the answers that I was looking for, I can't say that, I wouldn't try and bury somebody out in the cornfield.
Right.
So.
Okay, well, you get to your class, and we'll get this figured out, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you have a good class.
You too. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.